guys, I don't know, my Instagram live ended, and because I was trying to call my guests and see what the issue is, so the thing just ended, and I really don't know what to do now. Just okay, so maybe, okay, Mr. Samuel, maybe let me just ask the questions. Let me just ask the question, and you put the response in the comment section, and I read it out, because I don't know what to do again. I really don't know what to do again. I've tried my best to. Okay, so let me just go straight to the point, because I'm having few people come. I think people are already tired of having to wait. See, it just keeps saying failed. Like, seriously, it just keeps saying failed. It just keeps saying failed. Okay, maybe I will have to find. Okay, so let me just introduce our guest tonight. Hi, Rix Disato. Sorry if I bastardize your name. That's somebody on Instagram. So unfortunately, my guest, I've been trying to add him. Okay, just in case you're not seeing my eyes focus on a particular camera or facing you, just know that I am currently on Instagram and Facebook Live. So I really don't know where to put my eyeballs, to which camera, so just flow with it. So let me quickly introduce our guest, and I'll be asking him certain questions, and he will put the answer in the comment section. Since he can't come, I can't add him. We've been trying from both ends, and we just have to keep the show going. So first thing first, our guest's name is Samuel Adeyemo. I hope I got that correctly. And he is a colleague. He's been a wonderful colleague. He's one of my gurus and one of my consult center. We lawyers, how to consult ourselves when it comes to some very tedious and technical issues in law. Samuel Adeyemo attended. I'm trying to read his profile. Attended Lagos State University and there he got a diploma in law, and later went to Adekunle Adesin University, and he obtained his law degree, and that is his LLB. And he attended the Nigerian Law School, Lagos campus, and it was called in 2013. And he has passion for human rights, which is closely related to criminal law. And he is our guest tonight. Distinguished legal expert, lawyer, barrister, solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. He is a criminal law expert. When it comes to criminality, law, human rights, he is an expert in that field. And very interestingly, why I said he's going to be the person that will anchor this particular, like he will be my guest for this particular topic, is because our guest tonight has never lost a criminal law case. Can you beat that? When you have a lawyer that has never lost a particular case in his field, in his area of expertise, you can't but recognize such person. So that is why I said he's going to be our guest tonight. No matter what happens tonight, I don't want to say no matter what the devil tries tonight, okay? Because we don't want to just put everything on the devil's head, because, the devil is even tired of us putting things that is not really his fault on his head. I'm going to still invite him next month, by God's grace, to still talk on this topic. We might give it a little bit of twist. We might have a second phase of it. So we're going to do a first phase of it tonight. And I'm going to be asking him some questions. And he's going to be dropping the comments, the responses in the comment section, since we've tried so hard for him to come on live. Like I said earlier on, I am multi-streaming. I'm on Facebook, and I'm also on Instagram as I speak. Okay, so a brief summary of yourself. I'm not going to be asking you to say that, because it would have been better if you were facing us, as in if you were live with us and you were telling us about yourself, and it would have made more sense. So I'm not going to be asking you that. The second phase will be coming up next month. I'm going to ask you to tell us a little bit about yourself, and we have actually said that you have never lost a case when it has to do with criminal law. So why did you, Mr. Samuel, why did you pick criminal law? Because last month I had a guest that talked about family law, and and she gave a very compassionate, a very captivating story about how she got to pick her niche, or got to pick her expertise when it comes to family law and private law practice. So can you just type in the comment section so that I can read to our audience, why criminal law? Why did you have to pinch your tent in all aspects of law? We have the corporate, the real estate, that is like the la creme, the maritime legal aspect of practice, that is like, that's where the money is. Why would you, a very brilliant lawyer that I know personally, decide to pinch your tent in criminal law? Can you just please type the response so that I can read it out to our audience? Okay, I hope he heard me. Mr. Samuel, did you hear my question? Charamide, thank you for coming online. Thank you for coming live. Thank you. Please hang in there. Today has been something else, but we will keep on moving. Okay, Mr. Samuel, can you just type why you choose the legal aspect, criminal law practice? Oh, beautiful. So our guest tonight says everyone has his or her area of strength. It's something I do effortlessly. I feel you, bro. I feel you. I totally understand when you say you do something effortlessly, because I have a colleague that asked me, Precious, how do you get to do this thing? Get to do, the Pix, thanks for joining me. Oga the Pix lawyer, e-lawyer. I am multi-streaming. I am on Instagram as I'm speaking to you, and I'm on Facebook because our guest happens to be someone that is not on Instagram. And unfortunately, he cannot even come on live. Like, he cannot be live with me as I speak. So I am asking him the questions. He's typing in the responses in the comment section, and I'm reading it out to you guys. But trust me, I'm going to bring him on the show next month for a part 2 of this talk. Okay, so I have asked our guest tonight is an expert in the criminal law field, and I just asked him that, why criminal law? Why did you choose criminal law? Why not the creme la creme aspects of legal practice, like the corporate law, the commercial law, the maritime, the oil and gas, and all of that? And our guest says everyone has his or her area of strength. It's something I do effortlessly. And I was saying, I feel you, bro. When you're saying you're doing something effortlessly, pardon me, guys, I can totally relate. Because I've had colleagues that have asked me, Precious, how do you get to do this thing? How do you get to be on social media? How do you get to do your live section? How do you get to, still do your practice? How do you, and of course, by God's grace, I'm a family woman. How do you get to manage your family and all of that? And that is because I love to talk. Probably that is even one of the reasons why I went in for law. And I love to enlighten people. I love to educate. I love to lecture. It's part of my dream and plan in life that I'm going to be a lecturer and all of that. And I've always wanted to do a legal show. So even if I have to get up from my bed and do the show, or I have to even leave my cooking or be cooking and be doing it, I do it effortlessly. So when my guest tonight is saying criminal law is something he does effortlessly. I can totally relate. And he also says, I have even handled cases without the case file. Oh. Our guest tonight has never lost any case, any criminal law, case. And that is why I said he must be live. He will be the best person to talk about criminal liability in business transactions. So that is our topic today: criminal liability in business transaction, how, when, and possible way out. And he also went further to say, and it went on fine. Okay, the cases, he has handled cases without the case file. Of course, we lawyers will know that one of the major things that you're going to take to court is your case file, because it's like without your case file, you're like a farmer that is going to your farm without your farming instruments, your cutlass, your hoe, your seeds to plant. But our guest tonight has happened to attend to law cases without the case file, and it went on fine. He's also saying that passion is key. Passion is key. Whatever you have passion for, please go after it. I have passion for business. I have passion for corporate practice. I have passion for commercial law practice. I have passion for real estate, and I have passion to have a law show. There are a lot of shows that is going on the internet, on social media, on the TV. I have passion to do a law show, and I am hopeful, and I'm also planning that someday this will be a TV series by God's grace. So go for what you have passion for. Okay, thank you, sir, for that. Now, so we go to the nitty-gritty of tonight's live section. Our guest, Mr. Samuel, what is I asked him about, our next question was, what has been your achievement thus far in criminal law? As a criminal law expert, I don't need to emphasize, he's never lost a case in criminal law. He has handled cases without the case file, and it went on fine. So our next question, sir, is, what is criminal liability in law? When you're saying somebody is criminally liable in law, what do we mean by that? Or what does it mean? Because like I said, one of the reasons for this topic tonight, why tonight, is because I see a lot of criminal activities, in quotes, in business transaction. I see it a lot on the internet, or I see it a lot on social media. I even see people display it without even knowing that this thing they are doing is has some criminal ingredients in it. A lot of people do not know. So tonight we're asking our guests, why I'm actually repeating and trying to be emphatic, is so that I give my guest time to type what he wants to type in the comment section. So, sir, when we say criminal liability, what does criminal liability mean in law? Okay, our guest is also saying above, I love to put a smile on people's face. All right, on people's faces. That's beautiful. So, sir, what is criminal liability in law? What do you mean when you're saying, when you're telling somebody, an entrepreneur, you're telling a business owner, because this is strictly for business talk, you're telling somebody that, what you are doing, do you realize that you're criminally liable in law? What does it mean? So our guest is saying that criminal liability simply means that you are ripe to face the consequences of your actions. You know why I love my guest tonight? He's so straight to the point. He's not mixing words. He's not mixing words. So our guest is telling us tonight that when you're saying somebody is criminally liable in law or criminal liability in law, it simply means that you are ripe to face the consequences of your actions. It means that a certain action or certain actions that you have entangled yourself in during the process of transacting business or during the course of business transaction, you have done certain things that are criminally liable in law, that have some elements of criminality in it, and it means that action that you have taken as a business person, you are now ripe to face its consequences. Okay, sir, thank you for that. So we move to the next question. What can be termed as criminal activity? This is a very important question, and I want everybody to, put his or her ears on the ground. So my guest, I am asking you, what can be termed as criminal what can be termed as criminal activity? Okay, my guest is also saying every action has its consequences. Of course, every action that we take, either as a business person, either as an entrepreneur, either as a corporate entity, every action we take in life, whether positive or negative, it has its consequences. Okay, so our guest is also saying in business you need to know when you have crossed the line. Yes. So our guest tonight is saying that you will have to know when you have crossed the line. You will need to identify as a business person, as a CEO, as a managing director, when you have crossed the line. Our guest is also saying that criminal activities are those activities forbidden by law. Yes. So what can be termed as criminal activity? Criminal activity are those activities, according to our response from our guest tonight, are the activities that has been forbidden by law. So can you give us examples, sir? So that this can be relatable with our business gurus, our business people. Can you give us example of those criminal activities that are business-wise, business-related, that are forbidden by law? Okay? For example, those of you that will be issuing checks. Let me just give example before our guests will be giving us other example. Those of you that you know that you don't have money in your account. Yes, especially acts that are punishable under the law. Yes, sir. Now, some of you know that you carried out a transaction with somebody, or you collected you did a credit facility. You collected some business loans. Let's say you collected like 5 million naira to boost your business or to advance your business, and you have to issue post-dated checks just to show to the creditor that your credit worthy. Oh, I'm even giving that example. He's also saying the same thing. So our issue the checks. Yes, you know that. You know your capacity as an entrepreneur. You know your capacity as a business person. You took a loan of 5 million, for example, and you gave post-dated checks because for collateral purposes, for security purposes, people would love to collect checks. You know that you don't have money in your account. You also know that even in the next 30 days, money will not be in your account. Instead of you to call the person to say, do not issue check, do not even go and pay in the check, so you will even issue the check. You will even tell the person to go ahead, don't worry. You will not even call, and the person will now will now go to pay in the check so that the person can collect his or her money. And the person now says, the bank does drawer's attention needed and all of that. Drawer's attention required, DAR. And all of that. I know the bank will mark your check, and then the person now notifies you, your creditor now notifies you, I went to the bank, and you do not have money, and they're saying that you don't have some shit, and you now begin to apologize. I'm sorry, you should have told me that you're going, blah 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 blah. Those are criminal activities. You know inside of you that you do not have money in your bank account. Stop issuing checks when you know that you do not have sufficient amount in your account. Those are criminal activities. Those are forbidden activities that are punishable by law, and it can make you criminally liable in law. Okay, our guest is also saying forgery. You begin to forge documents. You want to carry out a business transaction. You forge reference. You first reference remarks. You forge documentation. You know now forgery. You forge people's signature. We have people, special people that are good in signing other people's signature and all of that. Those are criminal activities. Our guest is also saying fraudulent debtors. Yes, you know that you don't have the capacity to pay that money back. You will collect it just because you want to boost your business, or you want to you want to do a particular project, you will collect money that you know you cannot pay back. Those are criminal activities. Obtaining by false pretense, yes, obtaining by false pretense, OBT. Obtaining by false pretense, you go under the disguise of a particular thing or a particular person, and you obtain a particular loan, and you know inside of you that this loan that you have obtained, you did not display or you did not disclose the right the real status of the transaction to the person. You can be criminally liable for that. And money laundering, yes, you can be liable. Money laundering are criminal activities that you can be liable for as a business person or doing business transaction. Thank you so much, sir, for those responses. Okay, so we move to the next question. The next question is, what is the position of the law with regard to corporate criminal liability? That is, can a corporate entity be criminally liable? Okay, sir, so the first question is, can a registered entity, because business people need to understand this, can a registered entity, can a company, can a corporate entity or a business name be criminally liable in law? Because they will be telling you now, yes, thank you, sir. Because people have had some police matters, been to the police station, and they'll be saying, no, it is the company. It is not me. So the company runs itself. So our guest is saying, yes, you can be criminally liable as a corporate entity, or your company can be criminally liable for certain activities. Now, what is the position of the law concerning it? And now, I don't even need to emphasize on that question. The position of the law is that, yes, as a corporate entity, you can be criminally liable. Okay, you can be criminally liable. So we go to the next question. Sir, how and when can a corporate entity be criminally liable in business transaction? Okay, so our guest is saying Section 20 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State. Section 20 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State. So I'm going to quickly read what Section 20 of the Criminal Law of Lagos State, that is, if you are carrying on your business in Lagos State. Now, sir, while we are doing that Lagos State home, can you nationally, because we have people that are not residents in Lagos and are not carrying out transaction in Lagos. Now, outside Lagos, can they be also criminally liable? Can business people be criminally liable? And what law backs this? What law backs this up? For the purpose of people that do not reside, or for the purpose of people that do not run their businesses in Lagos State. Okay, so while you're answering that too, how and when can a corporate entity be criminally liable in law? How and when can a corporate entity be criminally liable in law? How and when can a corporate entity be criminally liable in law? Okay, so I'm going to be reading Section 20 of the Criminal Laws of Lagos State to you people, especially those of you that are carrying out business in Lagos State. Now, every state has its own criminal law. Yes. So our guest tonight is saying, even though you're not living in Lagos, even though you're not running your business in Lagos, even though you're not carrying out your transaction in Lagos, whether you are in Lagos or not, the state that you are running your business as an entity, as a registered entity, has its own criminal law which you are subject to. Okay, sir, so the next question is, how and when can a company or registered entity be criminally liable in business transaction? Okay, so let me just Criminal Laws of Lagos State, criminal alter ego. Okay, sir, you're going to explain what, unfortunately, I do not even. Okay, there is a principle rather of alter ego. Okay, sir, can you, for the layman, can you explain what that alter ego means so that we can move on? second self. Beautiful. Okay, so our guest tonight is saying that how and when you can be criminally liable as a registered entity is the principle. Why am I saying principle? The principle of alter ego will apply, which simply means your second self. And you will agree with me that you are the one that registered your company. What that simply means is, let me explain. You're the one that registered your company. Your company did not register itself, because without the human factor, without the capital factor, a company cannot be registered. So how you can be criminally liable is that your second self, when you lift, there's what we call lifting of the veil in law. So the law is going to remove the veil of the corporate entity to see who is the brain behind this corporate entity, who is the person managing it. So on that ground, you will be personally liable. Okay, so I'm going to be reading section 20 of the criminal laws of Lagos State. So while I'm reading that section, let me quickly ask the next question so our guest will be typing his response. Okay, so our second question is, what possible solutions avail both the victim and suspect in corporate criminal liability? So if I am a customer or a client that has been maybe dupe of my hard-earned money, what are the remedies and possible solutions that avails me as a victim? And as a suspect, what possible solution also avails the suspect? So while I'm reading the criminal laws of Lagos State for our audience, you can be typing your response so that I get to read the ones I am done. What are the remedies or possible way out for both the suspect and the victim in criminal law, in corporate criminal liability in corporate transaction? Okay, so while our guest is responding to that, section 20 of the criminal law of Lagos State states the title of the section is liability of companies, and section 1 says, where the context admits, a company shall be criminally responsible for an offense under this law. So what this simply means is that as a company, as a registered company, as a registered entity, as a registered corporate organization, you can be criminally liable or criminally responsible under the Lagos State criminal law or any state criminal law in which you're carrying out your business or transactions. Now, section 2 says an act or omission under this law is that of a company where it is done or omitted to be done by its officer. So when you are supposed to do something, you do not do it, you omit to do that thing. We're supposed to caution a person so that the person will not fall prey to a particular criminal activity. You refuse to do that. Or when you do something you're not supposed to do, then you are criminally liable, as long as it is the officer of the company. Hey, Mr. Damilare, thank you for coming online. As long as it is the company officer that carried out that activity, whether it is the director, whether it is the secretary, as long as those are the people that are recognized in law as the company's officer, then your company will be criminally liable for those activities. Now, in determining an officer whose conduct can be ascribed to the company for the purpose of corporate liability, criminal liability, the court shall have regard to all the circumstances, including the fact that the person has apparent or real authority to bind the company. So, like I said earlier on, it's not just like your normal receptionist, in which everybody calls a secretary. No, we mean a corporate secretary or a director. Those are the main officers of the company, or any member of the board of directors. Those are people that, if they carry out certain activities it can criminally bind the company or make the company criminally responsible. Now the last is where a person who is not an officer within the meaning of subsection 3 of this section does any act or omission in the performance of his duty as an employee of a company, which act or omission amounts to an officer under this law or any other law, and the company did not take steps to prevent the act or omission, the company shall be liable for any offence committed. So, where your secretary or your office assistant or anybody that is an employee in your system does an act or omits to do an act that amounts to criminal liability, and you do not take a step as a company recognizing that this person is working under your influence, under the name of your company, working, doing the course of his duty, working and representing the company, you do not as a company withdraw that act or rectify that act, you will be criminally liable. So our guest is saying that courts merely disregards corporate entity and holds individual responsible for acts knowingly or intentionally done in the name of the company. So, how can you be criminally liable as a corporate entity? Or when can your company or your registered entity be criminally liable for a particular activity? Number one, where your officer of your director, board of director, a member, or your corporate secretary does an act that is criminal in nature or omits to do an act, and that omission amounts to a crime. Now the company will be criminally liable for that act. That's one. Now you also need to understand that when your employee also does something that is criminally that has some criminal ingredient or that is a crime in law, and you do not rectify, you do not forbid it, you do not come out to condemn it, you as a company, you'll be criminally liable. Now, we also need to understand, based on what our guest is telling us tonight, that the court will not really look at your company. Oh, it's XYZ company. Beautiful, but who are the brains behind the XYZ company? Who are the directors? Who are the officers? Who are the legally recognized officers of the company? So the like I said earlier on, it's called the principle of lifting the veil. So the court is going to lift the veil of the corporate coverage, because when you understand the fact that when you have a registered entity, your registered entity is an artificial person while you are a human person. I don't know how to say that. While you are a human being, so to say, and both artificial person and a human being are different and separate entity recognized in law. The law sees you as two separate persons. But where the law will not see you as two separate persons, will see the company as you and you as the company, is when there is a criminal activity that has been committed by an officer of your company or an employee of your company, and you have not taken steps to rectify it as a company. So when the matter gets to court to rectify it, the veil of the corporate veil, or hey, Mr. Rotimi, thank you for joining. The corporate veil will be lifted. The corporate leverage, the corporate how would I call it? Veil. I've said leverage, and the corporate identity, that's the word, will be lifted, and then the court will now ask, company XYZ, who is running you? Oh, Mr. Lagbaja and Mrs. Lagbaja are the ones running company XYZ. So, Mr. Lagbaja and Mrs. Lagbaja will be the one responsible for every criminal activity that the company has committed. Okay. So, what are the possible solutions? Okay, so our guest tonight is saying that the doctrine simply fastens liability on the individual who used the company merely as instrumentality in conducting his own personal crime. We know that a lot of people will register their company, and when we are asking them at the point of registration, what are the activities, when we are asking them at the point of registration, that what are the activities or what are the business objectives of your company, we'll be hearing things like general merchandise, general contracts. I have even asked, I've asked a person, when you say general merchandise and general contract, we understand that should be like a second objective. What is the key reason for, registering this company and all of that? So all of you that will be registering your company, you just be putting general merchandise, general contracts, all contracts. And you may want to hide under this because, we lawyers have been telling you one of the reasons why you should register your company, one of the reasons why you should register your corporate entity is because your company is different from you. You are different from your company, and then the law recognizes both different entities, and the law sees you as a different entity. Yes, that is true. However, based on our tonight's topic, which is criminal liability in business transaction, how, when, and possible way out, you need to understand as a business person that the only time the law will peep into your activity is when you are carrying out criminal activities like forgery, like issuing of a due check. You're issuing checks that that you do not have sufficient amount. You're into money laundering. You're carrying out criminal activities, and you're obtaining money from people under false pretense. You are showcasing a particular product, a particular service to them, whereas inside of you, at the back, that it is something else that you're doing. So when you're beginning to carry out these activities and people are already reporting, maybe going to the police or suing you, the court is going to remove that veil, that corporate veil. The court is going to remove that corporate coverage, that corporate identity, and ask, hi, Mr. Tunde on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, so just in case my eyes is not on a particular lens. So the court is going to lift the veil. The court is going to lift the veil to actually see who is the person behind this company, because the company is not going to run itself. It is a brain. It is a human being that's going to run an artificial entity. Okay, so our guest is also saying that the allegations of crime lift the veil of corporate or voluntary associations and unmarks the face of suspected criminal to face prosecution. Now, I want us, thanks, Mr. Tunde, I want us to also understand when we are saying corporate entities and when we are saying companies, we are not also saying companies alone, limited liability, public companies. When you have an association, because we know there are a lot of, there was this story, and there was a case that I came in contact with. There was this woman that registered an orphanage. There was this woman that registered an NGO under that she was, that she opened an orphanage, and she says, she keeps saying, if you are a woman, you're a girl, you mistakenly got pregnant, and all of that, and you do not have, you cannot take care of the child. Don't have you to kill the child, or don't go and throw the child into the gutter, or don't drop the child on the roadside, or don't go and do abortion. Just bring the child to us, we will take care. So, people were coming, people were commending her, people were giving her money. She had international affiliation. People were giving her money and all of that. But at the long run, she was into child trafficking. She was into human trafficking. So what she was doing was to take these children. She registered an orphanage. She took this under incorporated trustee. She was grooming these children. When a child is a baby, she will groom the baby, and once they are 5 years, they were feeding them well. They were healthy looking. In fact, they were like, you will see them at Jebota children. That's because she had international affiliation. She was getting this money. She was feeding these children very well, and she was selling these children. She will sell these children, and some of those children were used as sex toys, sex machines, and all of that. And she was also giving out these children, selling them, making money from them. They were trafficking those children, and until it got to the knowledge of the authority, because we need to understand that no matter how long your criminal activity may have been ongoing, one day is one day. They always say 99 days for the one day for the owner. People will raise eyebrow. People will get to know. And that was how she was sued. People drag her to court, entities drag her to court. In fact, there was a particular time that they had to set her up. A particular child was given, and a mark was put on that child. and they now sent somebody. They were monitoring her. They now sent somebody else to go and adopt that child, that particular child. You understand? And when they were bringing it to her, she was saying, no. The woman was saying, I want this particular child. And then the woman checked round, and he did not see. And that was how they knew that there was something that was going on. So when something, I brought that story for you to understand that it's not just about company. It's not just about companies that are running business activities to make profits. No. If you are a registered entity, you can be an NGO, you can be a foundation, you can be an association, you can be a cooperative society itself, but you are carrying out a criminal activity. Once it gets to the eye of the law, to the ears of the law, the court is going to lift the veil. The court is going to lift the veil of your corporate entity. The court is going to lift the veil of your corporate identity or your corporate leverage, your corporate coverage, to know who are the ones behind it. And that is what we call the principle of lifting the veil. And once that is done, the person that is the brain behind the company, who is the major, or who are the major, those people that are major stakeholders, will be the one that will be criminally liable. Okay, last question, sir, for tonight. We're sorry, guys. Our guest could not, we've been trying to come on live. My guest has been trying to come on live, but he cannot. So I'm asking him the question, and he's dropping the answers in the comment section, and I'm reading it. Trust me, he's going to come back next month when we're able to, when he's able to set his live section well. He's going to come next month by God's grace. And I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on Facebook Live. So just in case you're seeing that my eyes is just going like this, I'm trying to look at my Facebook camera, trying to look at my Instagram camera. I have installed my multi-stream software, but it's not just working. But I probably need to get an expert to help me to put me through. Thank you, Mr. Tunde on Instagram. You're saying okay. Thank you, guys. So our last question for our guest tonight is, okay, my guest has also said something. He said the consequences of recognizing the separate personality of a company is to draw a veil of incorporation over the company. One is therefore generally not entitled to go behind or lift his veil. However, since a statute will not be allowed to be used as an engine of fraud. Okay, since the statute will not. Okay, yeah. So we majorly have talked about it. So, sir, our last question for tonight. I'm trying to open the phone. Our last question for tonight is: what would be your advice to business owners and corporate entities in respect to criminal liability during business transaction? Okay, so our last question tonight is, sir, what would be your advice to business owners, to entrepreneurs, CEOs, managing directors, owners of companies, registered entities on criminal liability in business transaction? What would you advise them? So while we're waiting for the response, if you have any question, please drop in the comment section. I'm going to attend to your questions after. Instagram people, please, you can drop your question on the in the comment section. Facebook people, you can see the way I'm turning my eyes. Facebook people, you can drop your question in the comment section so that I can take. If you don't have a question, I'm gonna go off the Instagram and Facebook page. Okay, so our guests, the advice that our guests asked for us tonight, as a business owner, or as a managing director, or as a CEO of any company, or as a founder or founding partner, when it comes to criminal liability in business transaction, is simple. Consult your lawyer before taking steps. You know why I used to bring people to talk on this my Law Talk series show is because if I keep saying I have brought a non-lawyer, and I will still bring non-lawyers to talk. There was a time last year I brought a tax consultant who is a non-lawyer. I'm still going to bring him back because there's a particular aspect of tax I need him to tackle with us, for our business people. And at the end of the day, when I asked him the same question, he was like, consult with your lawyer, consult with your tax expert. So I like to bring people that are not lawyers to talk, so people can understand. I was just telling a client earlier today, that You see, the foreigners, the non-Nigerians that are, or people that live outside Nigeria, understand the space, the importance. They appreciate the importance of legal services. But an average Nigerian would not. An average Nigerian would rather Google some things, would rather do trial and error, and when the thing has gotten here, now feels, let me get a lawyer, it has gotten out of hand. Please, I need us to understand that lawyers are not just meant for trouble. You do not need a lawyer only when you are in trouble. The best time you need a lawyer is even before you are in trouble, before you even start any transaction. I tell people on my Instagram page, do not even sneeze or cough or sleep until your lawyer says so. That's on a lighter note. What I mean by that is, do not take any action whatsoever, howsoever, like my former boss would say, until you have consulted with your lawyer. So the best way to handle criminal liability in business transaction is to consult with your lawyer before you take any step, no matter how minute. At times you might think a particular step is minute, but you see that little step can do a whole lot of things. You know how it is when you have a little boil on your body or any part of your body, or a little wound. You know how painful it is all over your body, like it is the whole of your body that has wound. That is how it is. That little step that you're taking without consulting a lawyer can make or mar the whole situation, your life, your company, your transaction, everything concerning whatever you're doing. Okay, thank you, Mr. Samuel, for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for, even agreeing to go by the route of, drop your questions, drop your answers. I say the questions, I ask the questions, and you drop the answer in the comment sections. Thank you so much. So our guest finally tonight is saying lawyers help you to avoid trouble. Do you know the truth? I did a, is it TikTok? People were laughing at me. All those people that were laughing at me on my status now no. Begede. And I was saying on that 50 seconds video that lawyers charge more when you are in trouble. I am not supposed to be saying it because I'm a lawyer, but that is the truth. When you are in trouble and you come and meet me, it is going to be a double charge. And it is understandable and perfectly okay. That is how it is all over the world. Why? Because I will need to think and read and look for solution on how to remove you, solve that problem for you, put you on a better platform, on a better situation than that I have met you, and help you come out of that trouble without you being stained, or without your company or your name or your personality being, damaged and all of that. So, like I would say, it's money that makes lawyers think. Yes, so when you read the body, the brain will talk. But that was on a lighter note. Seriously, lawyers are not just needed when you are in trouble. Lawyers are needed mostly before you get into trouble, and helps you to prevent trouble, because you're gonna have a sleepless night when you are in trouble, and you're gonna spend more when you're in trouble. Okay, Mr. Samuel, thank you so much for joining me tonight. I see that nobody has a question tonight. I am certainly going to invite you again to come over by next month, and by that time we would have sorted out all the connection wahala. Yes, a lawyer is paid to think. That is what my guest is saying. Yes, now, because I will tell you, I have some clients that will say, this is what happened, and I'm saying, okay, don't worry. That's my don't worry must come with money, because I take your worries off you. I take your worries from you. I worry your worry. If English would permit. So I worry over your worries. You go and sleep while I am thinking, while you are sleeping, 2 a.m., 1 a.m., I am thinking. I am reading books, doing consultation, reading law report, voluminous ones, thinking of how I'm going to solve your problem. And the only thing that can make me to stay awake, the only thing that can make me to stay awake, to be reading books, doing consultation, even consult my foreign colleagues, is money. It's money that will be speaking, because even we as lawyers, we chat ourselves for consultation. Yes, now. So that is how it is. Okay, thank you guys for coming. Mr. Samuel, thank you so much for coming. If you have any issue, police matter, criminal issues, anything that has to do with crime, and you need legal experts, Mr. Samuel is your first point of call. That is why I brought him online. So he is on Facebook as Samuel Adeyemo. He's actually here. You can send him a direct message if you have any criminal law issue, any fraud issue, any EFCC issue, and all of that. He's a brilliant guest. He's a brilliant lawyer. Like I said, he has never, ever, and he will not. He has never lost any criminal law case. Can you beat that? Like, even senior lawyers have lost a lot. Can you beat that? It's not easy. Forget matter. It's not how many years at the bar. It is expertise, and when you know it, when you have the legal source and swag, you have it. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me. That was really on the lighter note. Okay, Mr. Tunde Daniels on Instagram is saying, thanks so much for the enlightenment. You are welcome. It's my passion. It's what I do effortlessly. I love to talk to educate people. And you know why? Because there are certain things that you can easily avoid. E.g., June 30th is just next month. I have been shouting since December last year. Annual returns. I even wrote a free e-guide, design, paid for it, and I gave it out free. All you need to do is to go into my link, into my bio, either on Instagram or on Facebook. You go to my bio, you see my website link, you click, and you download your free e-guide. Read and know what annual returns is all about. I even have a DIY section on how I can teach you how to do your annual returns by yourself, or you engage my team to help you do it. Now I am shouting it. June is next month. People are not answering. When it now gets to 25th of June, barrister, that's your ebook again. Where is it? I have not even done my annual return. This annual return, I've been trying to do it. How do I go about it? By that time, because I know that there is no how you will start on the 25th and finish before 30th. I will charge you even for the default. All right. So I guess it's saying the higher you pay your lawyer, the more your chances of getting out of trouble are beautiful. That one is true. Now it is the money that will make the brain to be thinking and be doing the work. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is all I'm going to be taking on the Law Talk series live section on Instagram, on Facebook. Don't worry, my software, my multi-stream software is going to be working. I promise you guys it's going to be working from next week. So I'm going to be, while I am on Facebook Live, I am going to be on Instagram Live, just as I am. I'm going to be on LinkedIn Live. I am going to be on Twitter Live. So from next week, by God's grace, you can get me on all the 4 platforms where I function actively. I'm not going to disclose my guest for next week, but just watch out. I am on Instagram as Ask Lawyer Precious. The Ask Lawyer Precious is mostly for my business law tips, and I have another Instagram page that is propertylawyer.ng that is for my real estate tips. So you can follow me on either of those, on both of those handles, so that you can get tips on real estate and get tips on business law. And I am on Facebook as Precious Toju. I'm also on LinkedIn as Precious Toju, and I'm on Twitter as Precious Toju. And I have 2 active community on Facebook. One is Business and Legal Structure, and one is Realty Matters with Precious Toju. So are you all about real estate? You want to invest wisely in real estate? You don't know how to go about it? Do you have landlord and tenancy issue? You can join my Realty Matters Facebook group for enlightenment. Are you all about business? You want to do your business well, legitimately? You can join my Business and Legal Structure Facebook group. And this Law Talk series is a series where we talk about law as it affects your business, commercial, corporate transaction, and investment choices. My name is Precious Toju, fondly referred to as the Structure Lady. I am a business and real estate lawyer. Thank you for having me. Thank you for joining the show tonight. Hope to see you next week, same time, 9 p.m. on all the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Thank you. Good night. Do have a wonderful weekend. God bless you. Thank you, Mr. Samuel, for coming. Bye.